Humeral shaft fracture are those fractures of a diapesis of the mid shaft of the humerus which do not involve the proximal or the distal articular joint. Humeral fractures may be defined as the disruption of the bony cortex along with the diaphyseal aspect of the humerus. The earliest record of these injuries comes from around 1600 BC in the ancient Egypt, with reference in the Greco-Roman texts such as the Corpus Hippocraticum. More recently, in the 20th century, literature demonstrates that this was a difficult fracture to treat, and in 1924, Campbell stated that delayed union and non-union occurred more often in fractures of the shaft than in any other long bone, which was later corroborated in 1935 by Gromsley and Moroj at the Mayo Clinic, who found 65% of non-union rate. Treatment of these fractures has since evolved significantly, appreciating both surgical and non-surgical treatment. Surgical fixation means open reduction and internal fixation by open invasive plate osteosynthesis, which has subsequently gained recognition, which helps achieve fracture healing and early mobilization of the adjacent joint. Primary surgical treatment provides consistent high union rates, but complications such as infection, iatrogenic radial nerve palsy, rotator cuff injury, shoulder impingement, but all can be easily avoided. There is a bimodal distribution of injury which peaks in the third and the seventh decade, with high energy mechanism responsible in the younger population and low energy mechanism in the elderly. Age-specific incidence is around 13.5 to 20% per lakh, gradually increasing up to 90 per lakh in the elderly. Within the context of humeral fracture, shaft injuries account for the 13%, with proximal injuries being most common, 79%. Harkin et al. Study of 30 out of 126 humeral fracture treated operatively found operative treatment to have a low rate of non-union when compared to conservative treatment respectively, which is 4% in the operated cases and 33% in the non-operative cases. Furthermore, it was recommended that patients with significant history of psychiatric condition would benefit from the operative intervention. As mentioned by Westrick et al. Also showed in the studies that non-union rate in operative group was significantly lower at a rate of 10.2 compared to 23.2 in the conservative group. If non-union occurs from a non-surgical treatment, it is not uncommon for a patient to go through a prolonged treatment course of up to 8 months before an additional procedure is offered. Although delayed surgical fixation leads to high union rate, but the patient-reported outcome measures are inferior compared to primary fixation. These observations may suggest that prolonged course for patients with non-union problem is unfavorable. In the fast-moving and advancing era, nobody wants to be handicapped and immobilized by a cast with a limited movement. As our knowledge is growing, orthopedic implants and application also is advancing and creating a very potential option to manage fractures of the humerus shaft by internal fixation, either by a plate onto osteosynthesis or interlocking nail. We are here to evaluate the options of internal fixation, nailing and plating. The surgical indications are unacceptable alignment cannot be achieved, acceptable alignment cannot be achieved with a brace, conservative treatment failure, soft tissue conditions, burns, open wounds, patient with psychiatric illness, multiple trauma, bilateral humeral fractures, open fractures, segmental fractures, pathological fractures, fractures with brachial plexus injury, floating elbow, fractures with vascular injury, comminuted fractures, delayed in radial nerve recovery, compartment syndrome, obesity, patient's preference, and non-compliant patients. Now, surgical intervention should be aimed to achieve stability, restore the length and the axis and rotation, which will allow for early mobilization of the nearby joints. The use of surgical technique in fixation of diaphyseal fractures has increased in the last few years. Surgical management in case of delayed union, since the risk of surgery outweigh the benefit of a quicker recovery, multiple clinic appointments for brace change, radiographs can be cumbersome for the patient, and therefore some might be keen on a more active surgical intervention. There are ongoing studies about the outcomes of the surgical versus non-surgical treatment of humeral fracture. Thus, orthopedic surgeons should keep their minds open to new orthopedic treatment modalities. Surgical exposures. Fracture located in the proximal or the middle third are addressed with the classical anterolateral approach. When required, this approach can be extended distally to expose the entire humerus. Fracture of the distal third are usually exposed to the tricep splitting approach. For fracture of the distal and the middle third, the modified posterior approach described by Gerwin et al. Enable exposure of 76 to 94% of the humerus depending on the radial nerve mobilization and intramuscular septum release. Now, surgical technique. Humeral shaft fractures by plate osteosynthesis. Patient is positioned in a beach chair position for an anterolateral approach. The use of an arm holder helps to maintain the humeral shaft alignment, whereas the posterior exposure is done in the lateral decubitus position in a preferred. The optimal plate construct include a 4.5 mm plate or equivalent plate to cover minimum 6 cortices above and below the fracture site. Although 8 cortices are preferable, when needed, it is recommended to combine a small fragment plate for a butterfly fragment and then supplementing this with a narrow 4.5 plate to definitely fix the fracture. For the distal third fracture, the use of a posterior lateral column pre-contoured plate or extra-articular plate are recommended for a strong concert. Now, these are some of the examples. This is a shaft fracture in a young lady treated operatively. You can see the plate osteosynthesis and good callus in position. This is a second fracture, shaft fracture, which again shows good reduction. You can still see the sutures in the picture. Now, this is a comminuted middle and a lower third fracture fixed by the modified Gerwin's approach, where you slide a plate under the radial nerve, where you take a posterior lateral incision and slide the plate and fix it at the lateral condyle and in the shaft of the humerus. Intramedullary nailing, there are two types of nailing. One is an antegrade and a retrograde. Retrograde is not advisable because there are chances of iatrogenic supracondylar fracture or extraosseous bone formation. So antegrade nailing is always preferable. Now, these are some of the examples. It is fracture in the upper middle third fixed with the intramedullary nail. This is the second case where you can see a similar construct. In theory, intramedullary nailing can afford biomechanical and surgical advantage over plating. From a biomechanical point of view, intramedullary position of the device aligns with the mechanical axis of the humeral diaphysis. So for this reason, the implant experiences low bending forces and allows for a better load sharing. Surgical indications for nailing are same as of plating. However, mentioned previously, some fractures are more amenable to plating than nailing. Fracture characteristics and patterns in which intramedullary nailing has been found to be superior are pathological and impending fractures, segmental fractures, fracture in osteoporotic bone. A simple middle third fracture is also a good indication for intramedullary nailing. Therefore, furthermore, the nail can be inserted through a smaller incision, which allows less soft tissue stripping compared to plating. This is particularly true for the middle third humeral fractures. External fixation can be used at times, but this is only for patients where you have open injuries associated with vascular injuries. So for a temporary stabilization, you can use the external fixator. Radial nerve palsy in humerus is not an indication for surgery, as it is associated with a high rate of spontaneous recovery. Alternatively, a vascular injury requiring repair or a bypass is an absolute indication for surgical management. Particular cases, a vascular repair is performed through a direct medial approach. Internal fixation with the plate is faster and more reliable than intramedullary nailing. Conclusion, internal fixation has immense use in providing better results in form of less deformity, early mobilization, and good union. Plating is a better option for fixation in terms of decreased union time, better joint function. However, nailing is a good alternative as a minimal invasive approach, less infection rate, less nerve injury chances, and less of an implant failure.